Welcome everyone. You know, in curating this festival, I looked at the idea of what cherry blossoms mean to us here in Shillong, in this region and in this country when they grow. Um, and therefore, because we're in the season of autumn, I was looking at the idea of harvest, preservation, and maturity. And we have envisaged this entire program, the literary festival around these ideas. So I'm so glad to be sitting here right now with, these filmmakers here. I brought in a lot of, the intersections with living cultures in the environment. The last session we spoke about the environment. I think it's absolutely imperative to do so. Um, and I took all the fun panels to actually moderate. So I'm at another one. We did one on food cultures. We did another on looking at music through the lens of lyrics. Quite a few exciting sessions, and there's a program leaflet there that you can look at. So this is the one on film. Everyone here, I think, is a little nervous, so we should make them feel at home and comfortable. I hope all of you are comfortable and all right now, because there are also people, like when I brought in the musicians and I brought in the artists, they sort of are behind the scenes in what they do. They're not necessarily on the platform speaking about their words. So thank you very much for taking this risk with me, for having the courage to come on stage and to talk about your work. I think it would not be complete if we were to have a conversation on film, if we were not to actually have a little reference to what you're doing. So what we're going to do is just present a couple of trailers. Can we start with you, Paulami, if that's all right? Yeah, Paulami has joined us from Kolkata.
Sure.
Yeah, she is a Shillongite who's based between Kolkata and Shillong. Yes.
Yes, and a bit of Bangalore also.
A bit of Bangalore, and she has written most of the scripts for Kurba films. One of my favorite films, Unata, for sure, and plenty more. I think the last one was Yodo, and then there's a short film after
Short
that.
film, yeah. We call it Path.
Yes. So that we haven't yet seen in Shillong, I think, right? Yeah.
I hope we have a screening soon. We'll have the world premiere and then maybe
We'll look
come
forward
back,
to
yes.
that. Yeah. So if I may, Ashish, could you please put on the trailer of Yodo?
Desi baro kibriyo kitip. Kuno kayo kalong. Kitip sa pangkilat kilenti. Kidukan, kibasa, berkinong sungdukan. Hatu pisu perkat makalong kababek. Berhenti. Ngangit makibriyo kilong kumju hakaleng kaputay. Kijing kemen, kijing jenjar, bar kijing hakajing im. Kini kide kita ki bapelong yakakana jong kajing im jongki. Kini kide kibriyo kibangi kendo man kaski. Kiduk rumat kibangi yo ijang man kaski. Henry Helen der jong kini kidur kuman kidon kikana bapela mentanga asutu baka jinge dei kawan hadien baki daw jong kejeng perkat baro kilaku
Kadang ang mga soong piru Pelan dulu je lah dia.
So we have the director Pradeep Kurba here as well. Pradeep, do you think you could stand up and we could maybe do a round of applause for you? Pradeep, are you here? Yes, so a round of applause. Also to Paulami. Thank you for joining us, Pradeep, here today. What a film, really. Like, Yodo, I think for all of us who live in Shillong, it is at the heart and the soul of, our city. Tell us a little about how you wrote that story.
Okay, so as you said, like for everybody who's grown up in Shillong and who lives in Shillong, we all have our Yodo stories. Some of them are very bizarre, funny, heartwarming stories. So obviously the thought of Yodo came from there, and since Pradeep is here, so we collaborated together and we wrote this screenplay. And it was crazy to begin with. There was a time when I thought like I just should give up because I'm not being able to write any of the scenes. I'm not being able to visualize anything. I'm not being able to just take the story forward. So we've put in probably 4 years into writing the screenplay, maybe even more than that. Maybe we started sometime in 2015, and we've been sitting together and writing drafts and throwing them away and visiting Yodo at different points in time just to see how the people live and go about their lives there. And there was one thing which I did not know about Yodo. Obviously, I've been there as a child a number of times, but I didn't realize that there are so many people who are actually living in the market. It's not just that people go to work there and come back to their homes. So all our characters, there's Mike, who's the protagonist and who's running the public toilet there. He lives there, and he also, all his relationships are there in Yodo. So he finds a family for himself there. He finds his livelihood there. So, and all of these were actually the inspiration behind the story because they are real people. We've seen a lot in the trailer. You see a lot of real faces there, and the people they're so sweet. And I remember when we were shooting there, people they almost all of them became a part of the crew. They were part of. I remember there was this lady. She used to wear red lipstick and beautiful earrings. She used to sit there, and I saw she was actually scolding somebody. Don't go there. Can't you see the camera is on? So like the people are so sweet, and all of them became a part of the story eventually. So that was a crazy process, and I've learned a lot from it. And again, I would go back to the director there. He's seen my the worst moments of a screenwriter probably when I was writing this screenplay.
I think that really, like what it did, I think that film for me, and I think for a lot of us, is that we think mostly of Yodo as a space of commerce, but we don't really think of it as a space of relationships.
Relationships, yes.
And there's just so much of the intertwining of relationships there, and it's just beautiful, really, like so layered.
Thank you, thank
so
you so
thank you
much.
for telling a tale in all of its nuances as Yodo deserves. I think so many more films could come up on Yodo because there are so many stories
yes, we
there.
do have that in mind actually. We've been wanting to tell more stories from Yodo, about Yodo, the people of Yodo. So maybe if things fall in place, yes, we'll have more stories from there. Yeah.
So a question just about, since we are at a literary festival, we're looking at things through the lens of words and books. How different is it, because you've also written books, how different is it to write a book that is to be published as opposed to writing a film script to be made a film out of?
Okay, I have written short stories and novels, and I've also written screenplays. I think there's more space. This is my personal view. There's more space when I'm writing a short story or a novel. I do not have to, especially when I'm writing a novel, I do not have to think about the time constraint. The journey is more inward. I can actually play with my words. I cannot do that in a screenplay. A screenplay is more structured, but a screenplay, for me, a screenplay is a more fulfilling form of writing, because in a novel, I write a novel when I actually want to hibernate. I actually do not want to communicate with anybody. But for a screenplay, I have an entire team, and there's a lot of brainstorming happening. There's a lot of outward structuring happening. So yes, that's there.
That's quite different from writing a book
Yes,
because
that
it's a,
that
yeah.
is. And when I had started, because I had started with short stories and novels, and I still remember my first screenplay when I go back to read. And okay, I was like, okay, how did I write this? Because nobody can understand what he's thinking inwardly. It doesn't make any sense. So I'm just wasting paper because it cannot be on screen. It doesn't make sense on screen. So that's there.
And also in terms of how you think of your characters for when you're writing for film, like, you know, the protagonists in Yodo, you have to sort of give them much more sort of depth and life within a certain time frame. I think the time frame is very important for writing for film. Yeah.
The time frame is there, and as we talked about relationships, you know, it might sound a little cheesy if I say this, but your characters, you are in a relationship with all your characters. So writing a screenplay is it's like a relationship. You have to give that time and nurture them, and somewhere your characters start talking to you. That happens. It might sound a little crazy and cheesy, but that's what happens. And your characters need to trust you for you to be able to tell their story. So that actually happened with Mike and Hep, and even for Onata. For Onata also, that was there. Or even for a short film like Path. So the time frame for the depth or the nuances to come, you actually have to give a lot of time to the writing process, which I'm fortunate to be able to do that. We actually give 3 to 4 years for all our scripts. So, and there's one in process now also, and that has also started probably sometime in 2018, right after we filmed Kyoto. So that's always there.
I have to ask this question. Do you speak Khasi?
No, I have tried, but I've failed to actually learn.
The reason why I'm asking is because the films are in Khasi. Are the scripts written in English then?
The scripts are written in English, and then obviously we have a team that works on the dialogues. But you know, this is what writing Khasi films has taught me something. That language is a very small thing, and we actually give a lot of undue importance to the way people speak. Because, and now with since the OTT thing has become very popular, so you can just watch any film, and there are subtitles, and the Indian language films are so much to know about your own people, your own country, and there's so much scope with Indian language films.
Yeah, thank you for that. In fact, I was talking to Pradeep a while ago about the film, and he was telling me about how well it's doing in Korea. Am I right, Pradeep? Yeah?
It's there on about
yes.
13 OTT platforms in Korea.
Yes, exactly. So it's just, it's wonderful to know that, you know, like where we've not really reached that translation level in books, because I think not enough translation has happened from Khasi literature to other languages. It's lovely to see that a film has been able to do that. It's translated to different cultures.
Subtitles actually solves a lot of issues of language.
Absolutely.
So I'm glad we have something like that.
Yes. Yeah. So I'll come back to you, Paulami. If I may, can I now go to Simi? Is that all right? Yeah.
Yes.
Can we show the trailer of Simi's film, please? It's called Thong Yong Nga, which means my beloved.
No, it is my goal, my destination.
Ah, my goal and my destination. Okay. I thought it was my beloved.
No.
Thank God I didn't say that to my, you know, possible lover.
This.
The trailer, please, Ashish.
A very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Ngài mà phải làm sao sai thật, hay dùng lẽ mà sai một lời. Yêu nó cứ cho đừng nghe mà họ chào chào nữa.
Ông đã IP sẽ bắt ngôn đơn buram.
Sao mà lại bắt được phai nó? Ăn nó nòng kì. Có nghe, chúng ta phải lên, chúng ta mới lên cái gì
Kelana mengadan kacing angut. Berpoi yang mesya katong. Cumi. Naman berpoi syiru. Dia lah me. Penyum dia tidur kemat me.
Tentang apa yang kau yang mesti sesir. Sudah ada di tahu. I want to break free.
Chigale. Ikna asal tu kenai me, kamu jadi keturun gantes ne. Pemir yang nada cewek. Tahu ikata tu, kriau. Kamu suku menurutnya wahai pilih suara.
Duh, pamer kot, ubukut paper.
Sam, memang mie le perca, regular hair, dus men me, la dapat mile, patlang, la di yenda yendangi.
Kamu ni mana tak keban? Kamu ni mana tak terlilang?
Big round of applause for Simi. So Simi is a very loved filmmaker, has made many films, I believe. Can you tell us a little about, how many films have you made?
I have direct more than 16 movies.
16 films.
Yes.
Oh wow, when did you start making films?
I started in 2007.
2007. So it's been quite a few years now.
Yes.
And are all the films in Pinar language?
I have most of them were in Pinar language, but I have direct Khasi film also.
Okay. Tell us a bit about the story. What is it about?
The story is about a guy who is working towards his destination, Thongyonga. It is about a guy who is careless, who doesn't care, but then due to his passion for singing, so he has changed himself.
Oh, okay. And so what happens at the end, if I may ask? Oh, we should
At
watch
the
it.
end of the movie, at the end of the film, you will see him as one of a big singer in Meghalaya.
Okay. Oh, lovely ending. When did you release this film?
2017.
2017. So your next one is about to come out, is it?
Yes, Kachiti.
Okay. Do you write your scripts yourself?
Yes, I write my own script.
Okay. Can you tell us a little about where those stories, you've made so many films now. Those are a lot of stories to work through. Paulami was talking about writing on a script for like 4 years. Yeah. You're obviously taking less time because you must be knowing those stories really different. Because, talking about language, which is where we ended, is that sometimes it's not necessary to, to understand a language. When you look at the film, you just like, you understand it. Like I looked at that and you understand it, you know what it's about. You can see that, you talked about this person becoming a famous musician and a successful musician in Meghalaya. I think those stories really resonate with our youth. I have the sense that a lot of your films are very youth, there is a lot of young people involved,
Yes.
no? Tell us a little about all the different stories, where they come from, what are you inspired by?
Actually, the filmmaking happened because I am very much passionate about filmmaking. It started when I was 11, 12. I remember those times when my mother, before we went to sleep, she used to tell me the stories about the fairy tales and many more. But then the love part really stuck in my mind. That I remember after the story, all my siblings they went to sleep, but then I was alone visualizing the whole things, the like what happened between the two, like the hero heroine or no, and then I couldn't sleep. So that is how, as time goes, and I have this desire to tell a story, and then to create what is there in my mind.
How lovely that you actually, I think a lot of us have this like reel in our heads in terms of how we think. And it's like a little mini movie that we create for ourselves, but you made that into reality too. Um, where did you learn filmmaking? Did you learn filmmaking formally or just got into it?
No,
You didn't learn. Okay.
actually, I am walking to very much walking to what I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Then I have meet people who help me in brushing what I really dream of, and with the help of
Can we give you another mic? Sorry. I'll just give you this. Yeah. Is that working?
yes,
Yeah? Okay.
and with the help of my friends who are uh, studying or taking this course of filmmaking, then they are very much helping me. So here I
Wow,
am.
that's kudos to you. Without any, I mean, for many of us, it's not as if like we had a film. We actually don't have a film training school in Meghalaya, do we? I mean, at least when you started, I mean, we have media studies now and mass media, but we don't have a film study specific school in Meghalaya, no? So big congratulations to you
Thank you.
for doing what you do and doing it so well. Um, where did you grow up in?
I am born in.
Hmm. There's something wrong with the mics. Can we have it sorted, please?
Maybe I hold it wrongly.
Yeah, okay. Is it better? Is it better? Yeah. Okay. Still not working, yeah? Sorry about that, Simi. Is yours working empty?
Yeah, I think mine's
Maybe we can give her that.
Yeah.
Much. Yeah. So about where you grew up, you're from.
Yes, born in Norway,
Mhm.
a very beautiful place. If you ever heard about this Living Root Bridge, I was
Yes.
born there.
Okay, how lovely.
And but I was brought up in Jaintia Hills because my father is involved in this coal business.
Okay.
So we are brought up there.
Okay,
In Cleveland.
because just talking about who is the audience for your film, how do you distribute your films? Where do they show? Is it in Shillong, in Jaintia Hills more? Can you tell us a little about that?
In the beginning, I am very much scared to like because I'm not studying in this field. I learn nothing about filmmaking. It's just me and my friends, we sit together and write the story and the screenplay. And then I was thinking about the people in Jaintia Hills only that time. I was like uh, writing that film for them only, for Jaintia people only. But then in 2010, yeah, my film The Thelut, it is a big break for me. I came here in Shillong, and then some people, maybe some audience who have watched the film, they they saw my name in the newspaper somewhere. They congratulate me, and then I realized that my film, uh, people in Khasi Hills, in West Khasi Hills, in Ribhoi district, they have they watch my movies.
Okay. No, it definitely seems like you have a huge, huge following from what I've seen, on social media and the different places. So I think you've traveled quite a lot.
Yes, and how I distribute my film. Actually, those times we dub our film in the VCD. Then uh, imagining starting with 10K budget to shoot that movie.
Wow.
My first film, and then in just 4 weeks we got 4 lakhs. Then I can it. I'm so much happy that I'm walking the right track.
Yes.
And then as time goes, there is lots of piracy happening here. People read up our VCDs and then sell it. We sell it usually 200 those times. Then people sell it for 50. It's
Is it
very
better
difficult.
now?
Yes, it's very difficult to concentrate on VCD. Then we come to Shillong and to screen our film in Biju. But then we have only one theater. Only if we go and screen it in Anjali, we have to there is some format that we have to spend more, and we
Okay.
couldn't spend more because we have to think about the return also.
Of course. Has
So-
that changed now? Is it better now for you?
During those times also, I believe I believe not in limiting our film to just screen it, get it screened here in Shillong. So what I do, I travel in all the village, especially in Jaintia Hills. I travel, took my film speaker and then projector. Then we screen our film there, and I am so much happy whenever I meet some Rang Ba Shnong, they call here, the
Yeah.
headman and secretary Shnong. They used to tell me that. Kong Simi, thank you so much through your films, which we make the funds. We have make our own community hall.
Oh, wow.
And then that is, and I'll keep continuing this. I'll keep
Yeah,
screening
it
it.
sounds like a really lovely model. I'd love to come and see a screening in a village. I mean,
Yes,
that's
please
so
do.
much, such a, a more lively space to actually watch a
Yeah,
film.
there is once in I remember in Changpung, there is a big auditorium, first ground floor and first floor. It's completely packed. And that time we were screening my film Chipodonhi, and then during the sound the music part, people they are removing their chairs and all. They keep dancing there. They dance. Everybody dance. That I am really enjoying that
Yes.
moment.
Yeah, it must have been such a lovely environment to also see your film being released, received that way, no? Thank you so much for that sharing, and I'm dying to come and see the films now.
Yes,
Your
please. I'll
screenings,
invite
yeah.
you.
Yes, thank you, Kong Simi. I'll move on to Imti Kharkongor now. Can we have the screening of Imti's ad film, please? Can we start, Ashish?
Every day giving it your best. Time is money, you got a bank on your wrist. Health is wealth and got a stats on your wrist. Oh, so tasty, unfailing. Great victory, the day we beat yesterday. Wake up in the morning feeling blessed. Every day giving it your best. Time is money, you got a bank on your wrist. Health is wealth and got a stats on your wrist. Oh, so tasty, unfailing. Great victory, the day we beat yesterday.
Thank you. So that's an ad which Imti has just released this year. When we look at our region in the context of the rest of the country, what are those things that actually, like make us travel? And I think that, as a region, as a people, in the entire Northeast, we are completely not represented in Bollywood, for example. And we are definitely not, represented also in the ad films. I think ads travel a lot. And so I was so amazed to see this advertisement come up this year from Shillong for an international brand. So congratulations, Imti, and can we have a round of applause for Imti too?
Thanks, Mary.
So tell us a bit about how you pitched this ad. How did you make it?
I first got called for a song actually. They called me people from Carmen. So Carmen is a brand from Germany. So it recently set up base in India. Uh, so they called me for a song to as part of their campaign.
So who's the song by?
Also, this is a song by Khasi Bloods.
Okay.
So yeah, so they called me for that, and they were looking at options to work with. They wanted rappers and hip hop element to be part of this new song campaign for them, for their brand. After having a conversation with them, I realized I expanded that song idea into like, why don't are you open to take it further and make an ad for your line of watches? So and one thing led to another, and then yeah, I mean like that. They finally approved of the ad.
So interestingly, just the first day of the festival, we had Khasi Bloods here, and we were talking about, and we had quite a few other musicians on the panel to talk about their music, and apparently now, the mainstream industry, mostly Bombay, looks to the Northeast, looks to Shillong for actually rap and hip hop, no?
Yeah.
So maybe in a way that's also opened up other avenues.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
definitely has. I mean, like when it comes to English songs, Northeast is quite famous for i- delivering good material uh, for in any genre for that matter. And of late, in the last few years, hip hop and rap uh, has exploded in India. And with that, a lot of things has opened up and connected people and made people more aware, people in mainland India and people outside of the country, aware of the talent that exists in this part of the country, Northeast India. So with that in mind, we're coming back to the ad. Like I pitched the idea to them, to the government office in Delhi, which then went to the government office in Singapore. So I pitched this idea of doing a whole like talent, Northeast homegrown talent for this ad, which because my idea was like I haven't really seen Northeast Indian representation, like you said, in ads and films and all that. So like maybe I was having this idea while I was talking with my team, and we're like, we would really like to see more representation from Northeastern Indians in mainstream media.
So what was interesting for me in the ad is actually the range of faces that you see. It's not one particular type of face. So tell us a bit about how you cast, how did you cast for that ad?
Yeah, so being in the line of work that I am, I meet a lot of people. I know a lot of people, and while we were scripting this, me, Sumit, and Bok, shout out to Sumit and Bok wherever you are. So, so yeah, while we were scripting for this, we thought who to include, and it was important for us to include each and every uh, state, someone from one state, at least from Northeast India. And the kind of work we do allows us to work with people from all walks of life and from different states. So we were able to have like not just in terms of talent, what you see on film, but also behind the scenes, from like your line producers to your production people to assistant directors, all of that. Like one was from Arunachal. Hello. So one was from Arunachal, one was from Mizoram, Manipuri, Garo, Khasi, Jaintias. So like a very eclectic mix.
I think it's also representative of the fact that we're in Shillong, and Shillong is at one place where actually you have all of Northeast, quite a wide variety of the population of the Northeasterns in Shillong as well. We've only always had them, so there's a nice mix there. Um, I also thought that it was an interesting thing because we do have a lot of young filmmakers now in our city. That this was also a great commercial opportunity here. To make ad films is something which is very financially viable, is it? Would you say?
It is a space where if you are working with a good brand, it can translate well into financially, and hopefully this being our first project, we really had to negotiate rates, but that was not our concern. Our concern is telling the story, and you know explain and to show people that this is the kind of talent that exists this side of the country, and that we are capable to bring high quality production to meet the needs of the client. And even in terms of music for the ad, it was a local artist, the people who were mixed or recorded in a local studio. Usually when for big ads, usually mixing and mastering happens outside of like Northeast. But this time around, we were we made sure that everything is within Northeast. Yeah.
Okay. It also seemed like it wasn't a force feed. The subject with the ad placed in Meghalaya or Shillong, the fact that it was a sports brand. I think people are geared. Like all of those people were actually professional rock climbers, as I understand. I think I
Yeah.
spoke to the rock climber. Tell us a bit about that. This connection with the adventure sports, and also the fact that people have a natural affinity to fashion. So there's also that it's not just that the ads are being made here, but there's actually a market for the products here.
Yeah. So while pitching for this, we were talking about all these points exactly, adventure, because this is Carmen is a well-known adventure sports brand of watches. So that was the initial pitch, but then we expanded, and because we saw the range of watches that they had, and the range of watches that they wanted us to do. So we further pitched to include fashion and a sort of a lifestyle other than just outdoor activities. So, and they were really happy with that element in the ad, and it shows a lot about how Northeast is. Northeast has amazing landscapes, beautiful scenery, people are very adventurous. We are showcasing all of that, as well as very Northeast is known for its fashion, and I think everybody who has gone outside of Northeast can attest to that. How people praise our fashion sense. So we wanted to keep that element as well as part of the ad.
I'm glad we have all of our audiences here, and I am glad also that we're live streaming this, because there's so much opportunity, there's so much creativity here, there's so much talent, and I hope the world will come to us. So thank you for starting that, Imti. I think yours is the first, actually, doing an international ad film from Shillong.
so.
Would I
I
say?
don't know.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
think
sure.
so. So congratulations and thank you. I'll come back. How much time do I have, Nida? 10 minutes? All right. So, I really wish we could have these conversations on and on and on, because it's so interesting. It's such a nice range here. In the different things that you do, it's just such a rich range, and I'm sure we can include so much more. Before we end and before we open it up to the audience, I'd like to ask each one of you, what's the next project you're working on? If you had, everything was in place, if there was enough infrastructure, if you had all of the funding that you need, what's a dream project? What would you like to do? What's your vision?
Right now, I'm working. We have completed the shooting of my upcoming film Kachiti, and this time we are going to spend more on the technical part. We are going to take Kachiti to Bombay for color grading and sound mixing, and in future I would like to. Um, brush myself more and to see the more better version of me as a filmmaker, and um, I always dream of screening my film outside the state, so I'm working on that, and I would look for the film which are more realistic and more of a autobiography.
Okay, thank you, Simi. I think in the context of actually, this thought just occurred to me. That would be lovely if you would screen your films outside, and I wish you all the best, and I really hope that happens. But I think that also in the context of the fact that, this festival is being organized by the tourism department, that how lovely it would be that if we invited people to actually come to those screenings that you're having in all the villages. What an experience even for Shillongites to experience
I'll
that,
definitely want to
Yeah.
go for
So
that.
we're all coming. Everybody's coming for a screening in the village? Yes? Yeah.
And the timing of the screening will not be like we are screening early, 7, 6. They will screen at around 12, 11
At night?
At
a.m.,
night?
12 p.m.
Oh wow,
Yes.
what
Oh, wow.
fun! Even more, yeah. We are all
Whole
coming.
night.
Yeah, we
They
are all
would-
going to come and camp
Yeah,
out.
they would bring the own mat and make their kids sleep there and watch
Oh
the movie
wow,
all
that's
night.
lovely. It really sounds lovely. I haven't been I haven't had an experience like
I will
that, so it sounds
surely take
fascinating.
you. Yeah, I
Thank
will
you. Yeah. And moving on to you, Paulami.
My next project is titled The Elysian Field. That's with Pradeep Kurba as director. And we've not been able to be entirely happy with the screenplay. So we were one of the 22 projects that was selected worldwide at the Busan APM. So thank you. And but that was sometime in 2020, and but we've still been working on, because we got a lot of feedback from there, and we've not taken everything obviously, but there was a lot of constructive feedback. So we are kind of working on the screenplay again, and we are giving time to it. That's there. And there's also another something which I haven't done ever. It's a thriller. I'll not exactly call it mainstream because I don't like how that word is perceived in cinema in India. But yeah, it is something very different from the other films which I've been doing. The screenplay, again, that's a screenplay I'm unhappy with it, so I'm working on it. But I've surprised myself and written a screenplay in 4 months, and that was probably the first time for me. And coming to your second question or suggestion, which you said, if I had the resources, or even if I do not have the resources, this is something which I've been thinking about, and I had a chat with Simi also. I would want our films to be more accessible. We are always making films, Indian language films, not necessarily all of them in Northeast, but all Indian language films. The access is so limited. Like, okay, today I know Simi or I know Dominic, so I can probably ask them or request them for the link, and they can do the same with us.
Yes.
But not everybody can do that. And I
Absolutely.
really would want that. I don't know how that's going to happen. And since this is, I guess I'll take the opportunity, we have the platform. I would actually request you, and since it's the 50 year of statehood here, it's high time we have a Shillong International Film Festival. We've been waiting for that forever. So,
Absolutely. I think,
that's-
definitely needed. There was what was the film festival that was organized by you, Kelvin Cinema?
thing is,
Yeah. And that was
but
such a
because
good
of the
start.
pandemic, we couldn't have a
Yes.
second.
Yeah, and
So-
I really do hope, and I think, like I was telling Pradeep, maybe a whole bunch of us should get together and just do it, organize
Exactly,
it. Yeah.
It's time we do that.
Absolutely, yeah. And yes, I mean, why would we make films and not have, want them out there for people to watch?
Exactly.
No?
So that accessibility is a major thing in terms of, or like, except now actually we have more access to films, Tamil and Malayalam films, thanks to
Yes.
the OTT thing. But and obviously Hindi films are everywhere. But even films like say Bangla, I stay in Kolkata, but we do not have access to all kinds of Bangla films. Or even Assam, they've been making films much before we started making films probably, but we do not have that access
Yeah,
for
it's
any Indian
still
language
quite a
films.
gap there, no? Yeah.
That's there. So
So yeah, thank you for that sharing, and I think yes,
thanks.
very much needed. So Imti, what's next? What would you like to do?
Right now we are concentrating on like the next few projects that are coming up, our music videos, and also to some brands also which I can't mention right now. We'll be working with some brands, so hopefully this will open up more doors, not just for me but for other people who are interested in this line of work, and especially in the ad space. So hopefully, right now we can just hope for the best. I mean, like, this is just a initial stage, very nascent. So yeah,
I'm sure the industry is going to realize that there's so much scope here and there's so much creativity. Why would they not come? So I wish you all the best and all
Thank you.
success. Thank you to each one of you here. Like I said, like having the courage to come and share, and you shared so much. It was so lovely. I'm opening it up to the audience in case you have any questions. Anyone? Any questions? We have a very non-curious audience, it seems. Maybe we should, all of you just go watch the films, all right? So thank you again, and I'll end on this note. There is a question. I'm so sorry. Yeah, there is a question. We do have some curious audience. I'm glad.
This question is for Paulami. Can you explain or tell us how and what drove your concept for the film on Yodo? And my understanding is you live in Kolkata.
I live in Kolkata, but I am from Shillong.
Okay.
So like we've all been visiting Yodo, as I said before. We all have our crazy Yodo stories, our bizarre Yodo stories. And actually, I collaborated with the director of Kyoto, Pradeep Kurba. It was also his idea to begin with. And he's probably had more experiences at the market than I did. And we looked at the market from a very different perspective. It's not just a commercial space. There are people actually who live there, who work there, and they have their relationships growing there. So that was obviously the tipping point, and we got our idea from the people who actually live and work there.
Actually, I love that point about what you brought out, like the difference between writing a book and writing a film script, which is actually writing a book is a very solitary affair, and writing a film script is very collaborative.
Very
right?
collaborative.
Yeah.
And we have the entire team, and sometimes even people who are not part of the team, we sometimes send our scripts to them, and they come up with such beautiful ideas. I remember I had sent my, when I was working on Yodo, I had sent it to one of my juniors, and she had such, outlandish ideas about the film. We couldn't incorporate them, but I've been thinking about it. Like, there are so many different ways you can tell a story.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think sometimes, the inside-outside look is good.
Yes,
Like,
yes.
it just makes for more critical work, Yeah. So on that note, if there's no other questions, anybody else? No? All right. So thank you very much to each of you. I'll be
thank
giving
you
them...
for having us.
Yes, thank you. So we have some books to gift you.
Can we have a round of applause for our panelists, please? Thank you for that really interesting session that talks about the different aspects in approach to screenwriting and the representation of Northeast in Bollywood cinema.